Okay. So what else do we want to do with this one here? What about like when I mouse over each of these here, I want to add like a hover event without using CSS. Aha! No, I'm going to use CSS, but we'll use Java to script to do that for us, right? So when I mouse over this, it will highlight it with a different color. When leave, it should go back to the default, right? For each of those. Okay? Why don't we do that? It's more fun, right? So we added the list, okay, already. We can continue adding here. So down here, you're still on the same function. So now we want to target the li. So remember that one time when we run this function here, each time we are creating one li for each li, right? So that means that we need to attach an event to the li as we create it. Okay? So after we create it, we can still access the li, and we're going to do the same thing, add event listener. Okay? And the event's going to be mouse enter. This is one of those on the list. And we'll follow the same procedure up here, right? The function and then false. So the function is going to be maybe like we'll say highlight. Just highlight, I guess. And then false. Okay? And then this function here can be anywhere. It could be inside the list function, or it could be outside, doesn't matter. I mean, just to show you that it does work in here, we'll put it in here. Okay, so we'll put a function of called highlight. Now this thing here. This function here is being called from this object called li. And this li, right, was created in here. So you're actually pointing to wherever that current li is, right? So now once we're in here, we need to target each of these li's. How do we do that, right? So during this process, when it's creating these li's, it's going to attach an event to each of these automatically, so we don't have to worry about targeting each of these, because I could have the whole list in here and it could be very long. How do you target each of those? As you can see, if you view it in here, there's no ID. Oh, not in here, but in the F12, right? There's no ID, nothing associated with that. Just have a bunch of LIs. So how do you target each of these? That's right. So you do that when you create the li itself. That's why we attach the event right away. And then here, the li is, you can access li here by using the keyword this. Okay, so this points to the current object that was created here. So in this case, it would be the li itself. So if you want to read the li's value, like the word cat or car, is basically this dot inner text, right? It's inner HTML, same thing. So we wanna, before we do that, let's just go ahead and then do our highlights. So basically, I'm gonna say this, okay, dot style, right? And the border, we add a border. It's gonna be just say 3 pixels. We'll do solid. Or we can call it dash if you want, maybe dash. And we'll pick red. Okay, so let's see if this works. Save. Go back and refresh. Okay, I'm gonna add car, and my mouse over that, right? It changes, but when I leave, it doesn't reset it. So that's another event you have to add to the LI. We added the mouse enter, so now you have to do the same thing, but now you added the mouse out event as well. So it's looking good. Okay, so let's go back in here, and just at line 21, if you just want to put your cursor there, press the Control D to duplicate that line. And the other event is called mouse out. I don't think there's a mouse. Makes sense to be called mouse leave, but I think it's not it. It's mouse out. So mouse out, we're gonna not highlight, but we're gonna say maybe just reset highlight, I guess. Put a big H in here. So we're another function down here. Reset highlight. And again, this will be just this object. So basically, this style dot border is, we just set it back to none, right? Because we don't want a border. That's all. If you want to change color in here to a different color, just make sure you also, change the color back to the default color. So if you save that now, go back and do it again. Okay. So it's working just like that, hover event. And again, we built all these within JavaScript. So add cat. It's also working just like nicely, right? Plain, and have your own event attached to it. So now you can add click events to them. When you click on those events, those objects, what do they do?
Open another window.
Something like that, right? Yeah.
Well, continue to another URL.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's just say,
Or a folder.
yeah, let's just, what do we do? Right? When you click on it, okay, when you click on it, we're going to add the car, or whatever the content in here, to another location below here, and at the same time, we're going to remove this from the list. Okay, so we know to create a new element. Now we're going to remove it from the tree as well. Okay, so continue from here. You know what? Let's have some fun with this one here. Okay, why don't we like randomize these so that they're kind of rotating in different angles? How's that? Okay. You can see that it may sound hard, but it's really easy to do. Okay, so here when we add the list, you can do it before or after, doesn't matter here. So we'll put like right above here is fine. I'll say li dot, it's just a style, right? Style, I think it's the rotate. Rotation. And then it takes like the value of a certain degree, right? How do you rotate this? So let's just say something like is it rotate or is it transition? I don't remember. But like for example, let's just say 45 degrees. I think DEG for degree, maybe. I don't know. We'll see if that runs. If it doesn't, maybe it's the rotation part. So nope. How do we rotate this? I don't remember. Transition, transform. Yeah, I think transform. Transform, and then it will be a rotate. And then like a degree. I think 35 degree or something. Let's see. There you go. Got that working. So okay, it's the transform, and then a rotate function, and then you have a degree in here. So if I keep adding, it's put in that degree. So what that means is that this can be randomized. So we could do something like this, var random is math random 360 degrees, right? Between 0 and 360. So in here, we want to say this number will be whatever this RDM is, right? So we'll say something like that plus the random number plus degree, like that, right? Just concatenate that number in there. So we have a random number every time when we generate this list item. Okay. So let's save this again. Let's try car. Okay. Ooh, that's a lot of degrees, but I mean, I want to put 360. Maybe just 90 or something. Rat. Okay. Can. There. Maybe 360 is too big. Let's put like maybe 80 degrees. We can't read things backwards. It's hard for us. Okay. So we got our degree there, and then now we're gonna click this and then add it, move this to a list down here, just a regular list, and then we will just remove that from the DOM tree. You following this, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So how do we do this?
What do you want to do?
I want to click this car, click it, and then remove this from this list here, and then add this car, whatever value car, to a new list down here.
So you want to move it. It would be in the on click, but it would be like moving it. So
Create
Yeah.
a list.
Yeah. Well, we're just gonna. Well, first of all, we need to find a new spot, right? So below the sticky. So this one holds that current list, and then we're gonna move this from the list here and add it to another list down here. So just separate this with the HR, and then again we'll use the URL in here. We got a new ID.
Unsticky.
On sticky. That works for me. Okay, so going down to on sticky. And if you want sticky to have the same, format as this, then basically you're just gonna go back to your CSS, and then just add it here, right? Copy this, and then comma. You put on sticky here. Same thing here. Sticky, on sticky. So they look the same. Look the pound sign. Okay. so we don't have to worry about the format. Okay, so we got that there, we're good. Now in our script. So we got the mouse enter, mouse out. We need to add another event, the click event. So you can add a bunch of events in here. This is the click event. When you click on it, it should maybe remove, or how should I say, move? Not really move, but we want to remove. Just remove is fine, and then remove that to add. When we remove, we also want to add it to the new location. So down here, third function. It's called remove. So basically, this is kind of the same thing what we just did up here. We're just moving it to the new location down here, up here. Okay, I'm just going to add it to the new list down there. Basically, it's going to repeating up here. So we do the same, except it's in here. So the same idea. There are actually different ways you can actually move this around without recreating the whole thing, but we'll do that in a different time. You can also clone element as well, but just do this whole process again so we get the hang of it. So same thing, we have to target the new unsticky, right? This is the unsticky. Target that. We need to get the text from the li, right? The car and the king and so on. And remember that this move here is initiated from this li, so each of these li's will have its own remove function. So again, this will be referenced based on this object. So now I need to get the text out of that list, and then we'll just say text will, maybe not text, I'm going to call it just the data. It's going to be, instead of document that get element by ID, it's really just this, right? This is the li, the current li. Dot, and normally we'll say inner HTML, right? If you do that, it's going to get including all the additional tags in there too, if you want, which is fine. Or if you just care about the text itself, then you can just say inner text. Either is fine. Okay, so it's up to you. Again, the text here will strip off all the text inside the li. In other words, if you have something like, if I have like li, like that, if I put here a, right, the href, for example, and then if I have this as a list, then the inner HTML will grab everything here, including the a tags or any other tags. If you put inner text, then it will strip off all these and you just grab the actual text out of that. It doesn't matter how many tags are inside inside here. Okay, so it's up to you how you want to do it. And there's another one called outer text too. There's an inner, there's also outer. So what the outer text is, or outer HTML, is that notice that inner HTML grabs you the inside, all the text inside the li. If you say outer HTML, it's going to include the li, the whole thing. It includes everything. Okay, so that's the difference between the inner and outer HTML. So you want to use the we could use inner HTML. It's on the right side, so it's going to read the content. If it's on the left, you're going to replace the content. Okay, we got the data, and then same thing, we need to create the li. So document that create element, just like we did up there. do the same thing with the text. Document.create text node, and instead of text it's going to be this data, and then we just append it to those two objects. The li will be append child with the text, okay, and then we'll do the unsticky append child with the li. So you can see that it's like this is part is inside here and so on. So which means you can also do it in one take like this: unsticky dot append child. There's a lot of typing, but we put like li dot append child and then text, right? This is the same thing as these two lines here. You can go deeper. Oh, text is this, so you can say you can put this whole thing here inside here if you want, right? So you have one line. It's just harder to read, but you can see that I can create this whole thing in a single line of code. Okay? So just easier to read this way. Right, so we add that. Let's see if this works first. So let's save that and go back to our list, refresh, enter car, click add, and there's our car. So keep clicking it, it's going to keep adding to the list, right? So next thing is we want to remove it, because once we add it, we don't need it anymore. We removed it from the list. So to do that is very, very simple. After we add it to the list, then I'll put it down here, bottom. We don't need it anymore, so we're just going to say li remove. Now this remove function is not the one we just created. Okay, it's not this remove here. If it's confusing, you could call it remove item with something. But this remove here is part of the object, part of the DOM tree. Okay, so it will remove itself from the DOM tree. So put here remove itself from the DOM. Okay, so if we save this again, we turn the car, add. Okay, I think it has a didn't work. It's supposed to, but did something wrong. I might have a conflict or something.
It's removing it automatically as soon as you click it. So maybe there's
let's see. Just wondering if it has. Yeah, it should remove. I wonder if it has to do with this function here. Let's change this function to something else. Remove from list. So go update up here as well, because remove is part of the DOM function. Okay, let's see if that solves the problem. No, still. Yeah, no, I think Aaron, you're right. It should not be. It shouldn't be li. This is also what the confusion was, right?
yeah.
It should not be the li. It should be the this keyword here, right? Because this points to the original list. So li we just created, so it's removing it. So you're right. Good catch. It should be this remove. Okay. So now, so the remove function wasn't the problem. It was I'm calling the current li we just created and we just wiped it out again. Okay, so it was the this, which refer to, if you trace back, refer to this li. It's this li here. okay, and not the current li down here. So let's save that again, car, and then here we go.
What it's not doing is rotating as soon as it goes into the other list.
So if we put car, put cat, put dog, okay? If I add cat to that, cat is gone. If I add dog, it's gone, and then car. Okay. It's not rotating down here, why?
That's what I'm asking you.
You solve it. You asked it.
Well, okay, but
Mm-hmm. Because we didn't tell it to. So how do we do that?
so we did var random for the li that is.
Yeah, we didn't rotate it, right? So if you want to do that, we could copy this down here again. It's repeating. So we could do what? We could take this out, cut this out, and maybe we can create a function here somewhere, right? Maybe a function called rotate it, and we'll paste it in here. Well, instead of li, we're going to say
This, right? Would it be this style? I think that would be.
well, yeah, we could, right, yeah, we could put this in here. This is fine. But we need to add that to a little bit tricky, because when we call this function in here, because it's not attached to the li, you have to say rotate it, and then we add the li in here. Okay, we'll attach the li to it, so here it has to come into here. We put li here, and then maybe not this, but we put li back in here. So whatever this object is, it's going to be passed to this function, and we'll see if this works. We'll test the first one first, and see if this is still work as before. So it still work, right? So now since it worked, we can just copy this function and put it down here in our function down here. We can now add that in here, rotate the li. This is the current li, and then it should rotate. So you don't have to do it twice. So I'll try again, car, cat, and then there it is. I clear the list already.